Hi, welcome to the She Moves Mountains podcast. This is your host, Kamala Murphy. Thanks for joining us today as we talk about some of the juicy stuff we women experience that makes this life journey truly amazing. You know, the nitty-gritty, the love, the loss, the falling down and rising up, the getting lost and finding our way again. To our hearts, our happiness, and to the awareness that we can and do move mountains. Thank you for joining. Hi there, this is Kamala. Welcome to this episode of the She Moves Mountains podcast. Today's episode is going to be really short, but it is about remembering just how precious this life is, and that we can't take even one day for granted. I'll be honest with you, I tend to be a bit of a procrastinator. I tend to fill up a lot of my time with busy work and wind up putting off some of the important stuff. It's almost as though I fool myself into thinking that, I have time, that pretty soon I'll get my life all in order, and then I'll be able to really devote myself to my important work. But this week, I, along with people all over the world, really got a reminder that this precious life is not guaranteed. Even if you're well-known and pretty well regarded and super talented, and in many regards blessed, your fame and fortune can't do anything for you when your copter's going down, and there's nothing you can do to save the life of your little girl or the lives of your friends and their kids. There are just no guarantees. You know, a lot of us go around thinking that we have all this time to do our important work, to answer our callings. But when events like these happen, I think it gives us a big fat wake-up call, shakes us up, because we're not here to sleepwalk through this life. And if the deaths of Kobe Bryant and his little girl and the other passengers and the pilot do nothing else, hopefully they've roused us from whatever sleep we've been in. Maybe it's roused us to take more action to do what we've been called to, and to move our mountains, even if it's little stone by little stone. You know, it feels hard to talk about FLAMBÉ, feeling like $1 million when there's been a tragedy like this. But this week, I'm preferring to think of FLAMBÉ as being that life force that wants to surge through us, does surge through us, and wants to express through us. That life force that helps us to have the grit and the gumption to move the mountains that we're called to move. I like to think of the FLAMBÉ as the passion that gets us to do what our hearts and souls long for us to be doing. You know, a while back, I think it was last year, Kobe Bryant and his film partner won an Oscar for an animated short film that was based on a poem that Kobe had written towards the end of his basketball career. I found it really touching and inspiring. It's highlighting that passion and the perseverance, all that it takes to be a great, to reach goals, and in our cases, to move our mountains. And I'll put the link to, hopefully it'll still be there, to this film in the show notes. And I know, let's face it, Kobe Bryant made some really bad choices in his life. And truth is, most of us will. Maybe not as poor a choice, but we'll make mistakes. And that's part of this life journey. And in some ways, those mistakes help to make each moment all the more precious. And Marcus Aurelius said, when you rise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. So I invite you to take just a moment and breathe and appreciate that you are alive and you have this time here on earth to allow that passion in you to be rising up so that you, again, have that grit and gumption to move the stones that will move your mountains. And for those of you who are listening, who have been shaken by this tragedy, and who are feeling this life force surging in you, but you feel like you'd like a little support with that, I'd love to have you connect with me. And there'll be a link in the show notes below. Mary Oliver wrote, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" And I ask, what is it that you are passionate about, that you want to bring forth? If you want some support, if you need that support, even just someone to listen to you as you let it bubble up, please connect with me. So thank you for listening today, sending love and blessings to you and to all who are hurting right now, whether about this particular tragedy or some other life circumstance that's causing pain. I send love and blessings. Until next week. Bye for now. You've been listening to the She Moves Mountains podcast, coming to you every week. If you're a woman who wants to move mountains in your own life, please make sure to subscribe or follow this podcast. And if you've laughed or gotten teary or smiled knowingly thinking, oh yeah, that's me too, please go ahead and rate the episode with 5 stars. It'll be a feel-good thing to do. Thanks a bunch. Lots of love and blessings to you. This is Kamala signing off. Until next week. Take care.